And let's go to our next caller here, who I think also might be a first-time caller. I'm not sure. This is River.
Hey, Bart.
You're a first-time caller, right? Are you a first-time caller?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
All right. Where are you playing out of here?
So it's a home game in Charleston, West Virginia.
Charleston, West Virginia home game. Now, they do have a casino over there, right? Isn't it called Hollywood or something? Or Race? Is it Hollywood?
It's a Mardi Gras casino.
Mardi Gras. Okay. I know that there's one casino over there in West Virginia, but this is a home game. And what is the size of the game?
So it's an interesting structure. No blinds. It's just the button, post, and ante from $5 to $25. Never heard of it, but most of us are deep stacked. We're 2K to 4K mostly.
So I don't know
Very strange.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that. The only thing I could say is like when, and I think they changed this in Reno. I think they played without a big blind or without a small blind coming back off of COVID. So you're saying that there's an ante on the button, which is not live, right? It's dead, right? Like you don't get.
It is live, so the button can raise when it gets to them. Yeah.
No, what I mean is that the button ante, like he's not in. Like if somebody raises the 20, he's got to call 20, right? The ante isn't a part of that.
No, sorry. So it's basically a blind on the button. So if somebody called like the $5 on the button, you could just check your options.
Okay, so it's like a one button big blind. Is that what it is?
Basically, yes.
So it's $5. And what is the big blind on the button?
So for this hand, it's $10, but okay. You can choose 5 to 25 is the option.
You can choose.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Why? This is another weird, interesting one where it's like, well, if I can choose what my big blind is, but I'm inevitably in position, do I want to choose the least amount of money to put in dead? Because wouldn't that make me more money if other people are choosing larger? Or do I want to play the largest stakes while I'm on position? I still think it probably trumps that you'd want to choose the smallest amount just because of the dead money. I was kind of thinking about this where like if the money wasn't live, you wouldn't have to play any hands at all. But anyways, all right. So it's a single big blind. In this hand, it's 10 on the button.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm on the button.
Okay. All right. Start us off here.
Okay. So the under the gun position, 3 to X from the button, calls the $10 ante. The cutoff then raises to $40. I look down at black kings on the button, and I 3-bet to $140.
And what in the relative like what is the person you're going to be playing against? Like what's the effective stack?
Yeah, so I have 4,000 in my stack.
Mm-hmm.
The cutoff is going to be the main villain in this hand. He has about 1,900.
All right, so 1,900. So under the gun equivalent, limps, cut off to 40. Hero with black kings, 3-bets to 140, okay?
Under the gun folds out and the cutoff calls.
All right, so your head's up.
Yeah, so I've got the pot at 290 going to the flop. The flop is 10 of hearts, 2 of hearts, 3 of clubs.
10 of hearts, 3 of clubs, 2 of hearts. Hero, heads up, 3-bet pot with pocket kings on the button against the cutoff. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if I should be thinking about it this way, but I was thinking of it more as a 4-bet pot just because of the structure of the game. So I kind of narrowed his range down to a 4-bet calling range for what it's worth. But anyways, the action on the flop, cutoff checks. I bet 75, and he calls.
So Hero bets 75, and the cutoff calls. Let me just ask you a quick question, though. If you think he's so tight that you consider this configuration, like you said, like a 4-bet calling range, right? Is that then what you just said?
Right, yeah.
Wouldn't you go larger on this flop, though? And if he's so tight and he's going to be like very, very pair heavy, if a true 4-bet calling range, some of the only hands that are true unpaired hands that are true 4-bet calling range would be like ace king, and you block those, wouldn't I just want to start putting as much money in here in the pot in this particular spot? I mean, I just don't know if any pair is going to fold out on this texture. It's not like it's like ace 10 3 and you bet and like pocket sevens is going to fold out. I mean, I know this is a 3-bet pot, but if you're thinking about it in that particular way, a lot of times boards like this favor you. You're allowed to go larger. If he's not going to have deuces threes, there's no 2-pair available. The only thing you're losing to is 10-10. And also, too, like the main unpaired hand that he might continue with is ace king, and you block that, meaning that he would lean towards having more pairs. That's just my thought. But hero bets 75 and the cutoff calls.
Yeah, so 440 going to the turn. Turn is jack of diamonds. Cutoff checks again. Hero bets 220 and the cutoff calls. And I'm not in love with the turn sizing I chose either.
So the turn is the jack of diamonds, right?
Yes.
10, 3 deuce, 2 hearts, turns a jack of diamonds, pot's 440, cutoff checks. Hero bets half the size of the pot, 220, cutoff calls. So now we're left at 880. You guys started 1900 effective. So, you've got like at least 2 pots, well, a little under 2 pot size bets left. It's like 1500. Now, are you thinking that you should have gone smaller or larger here? Or were you a little bit taken back by the fact that, oh, that's another hand I lose to now in Jack Jack?
Yeah, so in game, I thought that if I bet half pot, he would call with hands like pocket queens and ace king, and maybe flush draws. But I don't think the flush draws are relevant at all. And I thought he would raise off any 2 pair sets that he has. So jacks and tens were the main worry, and I thought he would raise the turn and I could get away from it if I did face a raise. But I think I should either be going much smaller or much bigger. I just don't think the half pot really accomplished anything.
Yeah, I would tend to want to go like 2/3 here, or a little bit closer to 75. I don't think you're necessarily allowed to go over the side. Well, I mean, you could both have 10-10 and Jack-Jack, but it's not like a true brick. But I would probably lean towards 2/3. Or if I wanted to go smaller, I would, go smaller with the 1/3. But I would kind of lean towards 2/3 and try to listen. I'm always very, very value oriented in these types of setups. And you already said your approach was that you weren't really all that scared if he put pressure you on the turn. Like you're capable of releasing. And, the larger you go, the more value you go, and probably the less there is a bluffing frequency that you necessarily even have to worry about getting bluffed off the hand in some way.
Right, yeah. And another question I had here, do I ever check back the turn? Is that just too nitty?
Well, are you checking for pot control, or you think you have like a 2-street hand here?
For pot control, yeah. So once reviewing the hand, I didn't think about it in game. I thought a better move might have been to check the turn and call the river.
Yeah, but if you think that, if you're, like I said, again, if you're comfortable with the fact that turn check raises in a charity game in Charleston, West Virginia to a 2/3 sizing in a 3-bet pot that you're considering a 4-bet pot is never a bluff, then what's the point in checking back to call the river? Why not just take a robust bet for value approach and then release? I mean, these are pretty extreme live node lockings, but I'm just trying to, be consistent with the logic that, that's a beautiful thing about live poker. You don't need to play a lot of pot control in these particular spots. And like I said, I'm always pretty value oriented in these types of situations. Now, sometimes you can take hands and check them back if you think that the setup is like they're just 2-street hands, but that doesn't necessarily follow along with this one for me. That's why I would tend to choose more of the 2/3 size and get more money in the pot. But okay, so we're at 880, right? 880 here as we move to the river?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was planning on, I felt like once he called the turn, I was going to bet around 700 on any brick river, but the river was not a brick. It was the queen of hearts.
Oh, wow. So the river's the queen of hearts. So the front door heart comes in. The board is 10 of hearts, 3 of clubs, deuce of hearts, turns the jack of diamonds. And the river here is the queen of hearts. So the front door comes in, and hero doesn't have a heart in his hand, which is going to be worse for him if he faces some sort of aggressive action. And then we take a look at blockers and things like that. It just means that your opponent can have, if you had the king of hearts in your hand, he can't have a king high flush. Here he can. So that's slightly worse for you if you're thinking, if you're going to have some sort of, face some sort of decision here.
Yeah, so I do. He snap leads for 500 into the 880.
So high cutoff leads for 500.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the issue with here is that normally, in order for you to have the best hand here, the villain's going to have to probably turn something into a bluff, which is another small stakes exploit, which is possible, but it tends to be less likely because how did he get here at the end? And when you look at this and even if he floated with like king queen or something like that, that wasn't a heart draw, like that river's like top pair at the end. Queen nine, I mean, again, it's a tight configuration, but just follow me. Like queen nine suited, river's top pair, 8-9 gets there, ace king gets there, front door hearts get there. You also have some 2-pair combinations that might be suited with the 10x that get there. So he would have to turn like something into a bluff here, and maybe making a play, like he was calling with like ace 4 or ace 5 of clubs on the flop, and then called your bet on the turn, and then what it was going to represent the heart. I mean, that's not actually turning something into a bluff, but it's just, this is probably, as the live chat says, like really one of the worst probably cards for you here. So, I would tend to overfold here quite a bit. I don't even know if this is really even overfolding for the reasons that I stated in a 3-bet pot and somewhat of a tight configuration. We beat ace queen. He would jablow me. There's no way he would jablow me. live stream. There's no way that ace queen is betting here for this bet. When the dude loses to ace king now. So what did you end up doing?
Yeah, so it goes a pretty gross spot. I ended up folding because I didn't think I beat any of his value at all. He's got all the sets, all the 2 pairs. Even ace king, if he floated with that, gets there. So I do end up folding. I've played at this home game 3 times at this point, and I had not seen this individual bluff more than 1 time over like 25 hours. So I do let it go, and as soon as my cards hit the muck, I do get a reveal. He flipped over red pocket 9.
Wow, so cutoff has 9-9, red 9s here, and that's interesting. I don't know if that's necessary. I kind of tend to think that even to a half pot size bet, that should be folded off on turn, definitely to 2/3. And then I guess he took a hand that he knew that he basically had no showdown value. It ended up working for the guy, but that's a kamikaze bluff on that board run out against most people playing, like a charity game. Because like you're gonna have like pocket queens, pocket jacks, ace king. He's basically saying, I want to try to bluff this guy off of kings or aces in a 3-bet pot. That's not usually going to be a winning strategy, I think, like in a home game. I keep saying charity game, but I know it's a home game.
Right.
But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, whatever. Tap the table and move on. Live to see another day with that one. So
yeah, it was a tough spot.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.